All right, guys, welcome back to The Call. It's good to be back in the H&H Upper Room Studios with two of my best friends in the world, and so it's good to be in. It's good to be here. And actually, you know, let's just be real. This is our third take,
yes.
And so we've had some technical difficulties. Yesterday, we tried to do this.
Battery
dies on the camera, and so we get the battery juiced up today,
and we are on a roll. We are firing.
I'm telling you, y'all missed. Even Tanner was saying stuff, and Tanner was talking the most he's ever talked in one of these podcasts today, and so and then we're full in it, you know, and it's good. It's getting really good, and then Scott looks down, and he's like, oh, and I was like, well, he said, I forgot to mash record. And so he says, it's not counting down. Yeah. But we're back, and this is the third time that we're back. So 3 times is a charm. We know that God's going to use this in a better way, and so. But we're you know, this podcast is all about men, and men
make mistakes
on a daily basis. That's why I'm so grateful for the grace of God, because where would I be had not it been for grace? And so, but we were just in a deep discussion about all that's been going on and transpired around the world, and talking about the recent happenings in the United States with the passing of Charlie Kirk and the assassination, martyrdom of Charlie Kirk, and what an impact Charlie has made in his short life. 31 years on this earth, almost 33 years. Jesus was here 33 years. Charlie was here 31 years. Not comparing Charlie to Jesus, but we were getting into that, and I thought, man, you know, what a great comparison. Charlie was just one person, but he spoke to thousands upon thousands of people.
Yeah.
And, you know, my brother made a statement on one of the social media platforms this morning. I hope, you know, we were talking about how those who were opposed to Charlie were celebrating his death. And my brother had made a post this morning that said, I hope the demons celebrate when I'm dead.
Yeah.
You know, like, he's gone. We got him. He's out of here.
Yeah.
But no doubt Charlie's legacy will live on. And here's what I hope that comes out of all that. And we'll go into something else. But with his passing, I hope that young men will pick up and take up his torch and carry on what he was doing here in the United States. And so it's good to be back. Dr. Scott, we got Tanner, and Tanner's back with us, and a lot of things happen, and Tanner helps make those things happen, and so he is, we have hope for the future. We have hope.
He is like the first level of the man church. We are building an empire with one board at a time.
Yeah, exactly. And hey, let's make sure can we see you, Scott? I don't want you to be like, I don't want you to be like the neighbor for the tool man. But, and so we want to see that pretty face of yours and that haircut. And
I told him, so I'm going to do a recap here before we get into this whole thing about man church. I told him my drip is on today. I have my Fiesta. I like to call it my Fiesta Old Camo. That's what I call it.
That's
cool.
It's
the my shirt that I wore for the dove hunt party. I wanted to wear it today because I like it. I think I'm styling it, and we were just talking about that. I told him that I just want to get good enough to get on Ramsey's TikTok page to be on her outfit of the day. Compliments of my wife dressing me. That's the thing, as you get older, you know, I will wear anything, and I have to get it scrutinized before I walk out, because I will have on the wrong socks or something like that, and she'll immediately correct me of what I need to do. So that is,
and that's the thing of having a wife that's basically a fashion designer. I mean, really, she is. She missed her calling. She should be in New York somewhere as a fashion designer. If you've seen his wife's wardrobes, she is super. I mean, I don't know, on the cutting edge of all things, and just when it comes to fashion, and they do a lot of you know, shopping on the weekends and putting these items together. And Scott, you know, if you know Scott, he's not going to look like trash. He's like, I'm not going to, I mean, he's definitely going to wear the best of the best and look the best, and he's got a new haircut.
I do have a new haircut, and I had to take my hat off because I looked like a small boy with C5 wings. My ears were sticking out behind it, so I had to take the hat off. put the headset on so that I could talk to you guys.
Yeah, and he's got this, this beautiful head of hair, and so he's blessed with that, and so his hair turned. I always say his hair turned gray, mine turned loose, and so, and so he is looking. He sent us a picture this morning, like at 5:30, of his wardrobe. And I was like, is that the Friday fit? He said, yeah, that's the Friday fit.
Yeah.
And he's always drippy, man. He's got. I mean,
we're dripping.
He's always dripping, and then Tanner comes in. I think he's going on a date because he's dressed so nice. Usually he's in a t-shirt and blue jeans, and
I'm trying my best.
Today he was like
he even brought a. What did you tell me that you brought? You brought a Sitka outfit. He thought he was going to have to do a wardrobe change, so we were getting ready for a wardrobe change.
Yeah, and so we don't want to come here looking like having the same wardrobe. Yeah. So, but man, Scott and I have taken on a new role at our church. Scott does a lot of things at our church. He's a musician. He plays the drums. He plays the cowbell. He plays the guitar. This weekend, if you're anywhere in Calhoun when this will hit, but Sunday he'll be playing the guitar at church. And so he does a lot of things there. And I'm on staff at the church. And so we've taken on, and we're revamping Man Church. That's what we're going to talk about today is Man Church, because I think there's an important thing that's missing in a lot of churches, and that's men. Yeah. I mean, really, you think about it, over the centuries and over the years, women have taken up the role that men are supposed to be doing in the churches, and so we're trying to reverse that. We're trying to get men more involved, and so our first Man Church, I think it was a hit. I mean, it was really, really well attended, and we had a theme. What was the theme, Scott?
It was skeet, steaks, and scripture.
And that's what we had.
The triple S's.
That's right, and it was amazing. And so Tanner was there. He helped us behind the scenes get set up and get everything ready, and so just so grateful for a young man like him that's willing to hang out with us old farts.
Yeah. And they try to cripple you. They did. I'm just now recovering. I just want to let you know, for my viewers out here, yesterday I had to send these guys a video. Because during the skeet shooting, they thought it was funny to cripple the old man and have the skeet thrower collapse onto my leg, which I went into a Pentecostal rage.
He was speaking in some unknown tongue.
I thought of many words at that time, but I did not express them as I was jumping around as that thing came around and hit me in the lower leg, let's just say. From that point on, my shooting abilities were gone. I did not hit a single clay. So
he lost his stability.
It messed up my skeet thrower. It burned the relay up in it, so I finally got the relay. And so yesterday, late in the afternoon, I finally put it back together. I'm out in the yard shooting it, and I said, I am back, and I am sending it. Yeah. I did not miss a skeet. I was on fire. That's all I can say.
He sent us a video of that last night also, him shooting those skeet. And so, it's something, it's when you're men, you can laugh at each other after the fact that they're okay. And so I knew Scott was hurt when that thing slung around and hit him in the shin of all places. And if you ever caught something to the shin, especially that hard, and it was bad. It wasn't.
That's why they put that little orange ring around it. I can tell you that. Do not get close.
You're not supposed to get inside that orange ring, and Scott was inside the ring there. And
it made my eyes water. It hurt. I'm telling you. I'm
just glad you were composed enough to hold your tongue.
Yeah,
because I'm sure there was some words that could have came out that probably wasn't biblical.
Yeah, and there was, there's always. I'm just going to say that, you're around these guys, and then we get a smart mouth one, which is Squirrel. Squirrel's one of our proteges. He starts rubbing it in because I can't hit the broadside of a barn because I'm suffering from the agony of pain that feels like my leg has been cut off. And he is out there, oh, come on, Scott, let's hit one. I can't even believe you can't hit one. I was like, okay, now I'm going to show him. So Squirrel's on the next time. I'm gonna put Squirrel in his place. I'm gonna pulverize Squirrel's skeet. Is what I'm gonna do.
Hopefully.
Squirrel, he's just one of those little yappers, that just kind of yap at you and stuff, and gets under your, like a little mean chihuahua, And so, but it turned out. Besides that, it turned out to be a great event, and so we're ramping up for our next one, but
What is that going to be? Tell the people.
Well, we've talked about it, and just to make it different, because we want to, we always, if you know Scott, he's got to one up himself or one up anything that we do. It can't be the same. It can't be, the same old stuff. And so we're going to, the theme of this one will be fishers of men. And so we're going to meet at a local lake here in our town, and anybody's invited. All men's invited at the end of this month. We're planning on doing it again at the end of this month. And so any man's on the 6th.
We're going to do venison burgers.
We're going to do venison burgers.
That's it.
And so
it's on the menu.
But and so it's going to be a fun time. It really is. And so, and here's the thing. We see the importance of men. We understand this is why this whole podcast began, was a call to men. And so I was thinking about, very early on, I think one of our first podcasts, somebody asked, what is a man?
Yeah.
And so I was thinking about that last night, thinking about today going into this podcast. And, in the Bible, the role of the man in the family is often described as, in various passages, emphasizing leadership, provision, and protection. And so in Ephesians chapter 5, verse 23, it states that the husband is to lead the wife. He is to be the leader of the household. He is to be the one that provides and protects and is the one there for them. And so, and we're just trying to call that back, because over the years, really the man has kind of slacked off in his role in the church, and the woman's had to step up. And so you see a lot more women taking roles of leadership in the church than you do men. And so it's very vital, because when you think about men in society today, and I was just doing this, I was looking up statistics this morning, guys, about, and listen to this, it's very shocking. Here's some statistics about men. Here are some significant statistics related to fatherless homes. And so some of you may have already done this statistics, but approximately 1 in 4 children in the United States live in a fatherless home. Children in fatherless homes are about 4 times more likely to live in poverty compared to those in the 2-parent home. When it comes to education, kids from fatherless homes are 2.5 times more likely to drop out of school. When it comes to behavioral issues, children from fatherless homes are more likely to exhibit behavioral problems such as hyperactivity and aggression. Now, I grew up with a dad, and my dad was rough. My dad wasn't a biblical person, but he applied biblical concepts in our house, like spare the rod, spoil the child. Yeah. We had back then, I didn't know we was having it, but we didn't need Ritalin when I was growing up. If you were hyperactive, my daddy had a solution for that. If you acted up, he had a solution for that. And all my mom ever had to say growing up was, "Okay, I'm telling you, Daddy," and that was it. I mean, we were terrified. We always, fell in line. And so, listen, teenage pregnancy. Girls from fatherless homes are more likely to experience teenage pregnancy with a rate 7 times greater than with the father being in the home. And so, substance abuse is high. Young men, juvenile delinquency, children from the fatherless home are approximately twice as likely to be incarcerated compared to those who don't have. And that's just a few statistics, but that's why we think it's so important, because there is a call for men. There's a call on men's lives, and so that's why I think me and Scott are so compassionate and so convicted about helping young men be men. Because when I was in seminary, I went to seminary up in North Georgia, and my professor, his daughter she had cancer, and she was, and I'll never forget this. We were sitting in class, and he had talked to his daughter. He said, "Baby, you'll never get to get married," because she had terminal cancer. She didn't have much longer to live. And he said, "Well, baby, you won't never be able to get married." And she said, "Daddy, there ain't no men out there good enough to marry." Mm-hmm. She said, "So don't worry about that." Yeah. And so he looked at me, and he knew I had boys, and he said, "Stacy, make sure your boys are raised right, so girls like my daughter can have men." Yeah. That. And so I think that's important, to get men active in church, to get them, in a man, because we'll see it. I'm sure we'll see it from here on out. We'll have more men show up, and we're not trying to compete with the local church, because we belong to Grace Church and we want men to come to church. But you'll have men more likely to come to an outdoor setting than you would to a church building.
I agree.
And so, and if you win the man, the statistics say if you win the man,
You win it.
you win the daddy, you win the whole family.
Right.
And so, but yeah, man church. And so, what was y'all's take on man church from a young man?
Oh, I had a great time. It was fun. Got to outshoot everyone almost.
Oh, easy now. Hold up. Now, we had a little contest that I seen little Tanner's heart break. It looked like he was just sick in his stomach because he came out there to win. He came out there to beat everybody.
He was almost there. He was right there.
Yeah.
He was right there. He was in the finals.
What was the game? What was the game that we played?
Knockout.
Yep.
Knockout. And so Tanner got knocked out.
Yep.
And so by our pastor's son-in-law, who was also a good shooter, a wing shooter. And so, and I just seen little Tanner's face. His heart dropped when Cole knocked him out of that game. And so, but Tanner was on, but we, like you said, we had Scott's machine went down, and we had several other machines.
Yeah.
We had one out there that Scott's like, yeah, I'm getting
one of that. Yeah, Mr. Pennell's is definitely going to find me to get me one of those. I've
Yeah.
never seen one that threw that fast.
That was insane, dude. That was like shooting wood ducks at 60 miles an hour. Right?
I gotta have one. And I've already told them. That's what I asked for my birthday. I told Wendy, I said, because I didn't know if mine was ever going to recover. I said, and I don't trust that thing now that it hit me in the leg. So I said, I tried to give that thing to 5 people, and nobody would take me up on it.
Oh,
Tanner's like,
my
well, just take it
goodness.
by the office and leave it, and I'll come over there and get it. So I drug it home because I didn't want to leave it up here. And then finally I said, you know what, I don't want to just throw it out there. I'm going to figure it out. And I said, because I'm just that way.
You're
So
not gonna let that thing beat you, right?
no, I took it apart. I took it in a million pieces, and I finally figured it out and put it back together. So we had Tanner goes, well, what are you going to do with these? I said, well, when I get this other one, I'll bring that one over there and you can have 2. I said, but we're going to put a warning sign on that one. I said,
Yeah.
that thing's got a mind of its own. Put a,
Same.
We're gonna call it Christine, like
Yeah.
the movie. Like
put a set of eyes on that
demon.
thing that it's looking for you,
Yeah.
man, when it's coming out there. But yeah, I think that was the other big take that I challenge other people that are listening is it doesn't take but a few people in your organization or your group to start something, right? And then the one thing that I took away from that weekend that I thought was surprising was it happened on Labor Day weekend, which
Yeah.
we didn't really, I'm going to say this, when we were thinking about it, I wasn't really thinking about everybody being gone. So then we had the problem right before it happened, it rained, and I looked over to Stacy and I go, man, I don't know if anybody's going to show up. And we had close to 50-something people.
Oh yeah. The pastor was full of trucks. It
Yeah.
was just cool. I was just blown away and almost a little bit emotional looking around, thinking, man, there's a lot of guys here.
And I think that was the statement. Here comes the train.
Yeah, here comes the train. Though.
You know, we love the train here at the homespun in the upper room.
I think of Johnny Cash or Tomato
Yeah.
song for some reason. I hear the train
Here it
coming.
comes.
It's rolling around the bend. But and here's a cool thing too that I took, that there was people of all different ages. Men of all different ages and novice.
Yeah.
There was people who never shot a shotgun.
Yeah.
And so we had guys helping them. And watching them smile. I'll never forget one of our friends, Danny, and his son
Yeah.
was shooting for the first time, and just watching the smile on their faces as they were connecting with those clays, and and just having. That's what it's all about, really.
Yeah.
But we have to give a shout out. Scott said this yesterday when
Yeah.
on our first try, that we had women in the black. Behind every good man is a great woman.
Oh,
And so we're grateful for our wives who helped us tremendously put this on behind the scenes.
because
And
I was gone. I was already in a panic because at the last minute, 'cause for you guys that don't know it, I'm a huge Tech fan, so I got a chance of a lifetime and got to go to Colorado to watch the opening game. So I'd not planned on that, so I'm off to Colorado. I'm calling Tanner. I'm calling Stacy. I said, man, I'm trying to make this easy on you guys, so we're trying to coordinate picking up stuff, getting stuff on there. And I'm going to say this, everybody that participated, Tanner, I owe you a huge thank you. He was a huge part of it. Squirrel was a huge part of it. I think that Stacy was a huge part of it. And collectively, no one person has credit for the other. I think that that's the other thing is if you're, and it's a lesson for men, right? There's times in your life that you're going to be down. And we talked about it last time about the lesson of 5 that I always try to tell my son. I said, you can only count on people on your one hand. So you got to make sure that the people that you align yourself with can pull the weight when you're not there. So my 5 is definitely in this room. There's 2 of them in here, and I'm all the time joking with them. I said, out of crazy situations, we've all become friends, and I'm sure these friendships will last a lifetime. So, but at that same time, when I need help, just like when you need help, there's people out there to help you up. We're not going to let you fall. We're going to make sure it's on there. And I want you to promote that for you guys that are out here that are watching this, that if you're in your church or your community, start it. Do the first thing. Take a step. You know, you think, well, man, that's a lot of work, and I don't know if I can do that. If you don't ask, you don't ever know. It's the same thing right before we came on the air. Me and Tanner are on here trying to find Tanner a place to goose hunt. And we're going down a list of people that we know, and I said, hey, man, all they can say is no. Well, we just call them. Give me that phone. I'll start calling. I mean, they don't hurt my feelings. And, you know, and I think it shows respect because I'm not. If they don't want to do it, that's fine. I'm not mad at them. I'm just, hey, all I can do is ask, and they can say no. But next time they may say yes. So that's a cool thing. And I think that out of this group, one of the things that we learn is that we have as a church, our church, we are just one church in a community of churches. That I don't necessarily look at it as a competitive thing that we're trying to get members or trying to get group, but we're looking at trying to build a better fabric. Just like Charlie Kirk, right? We were talking about that earlier on, is that to hold people accountable and to, everybody's got to step up, right? Just like now, Charlie Kirk's gone, people, you know, we can sit here and look around, but the responsibility lies on everybody else's shoulders to stand up, say what's right, do what's right, and have your voice, right? And that's the thing with us and the cause, I think, is to try to give men back their voice in some small fashion in this world, to have a platform to do that. And I think that's what we're trying to do here.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think, you know, you hit it right on the head, is that we need to surround ourselves with good men. Iron sharpens iron. Scripture says that, you know, and men that we can be vulnerable around, you know, that we can really like share, you know, our hearts and what's going on. Yes, we may make fun of each other. Yes, we may, you know, but when it comes down to it, and you know, that we have that, like Scott said, that 5 or that surrounding group of men that we can say, okay, I need your help. I need you. You know, help me get better. And so that's, you know, that's what men need. And that's what we're trying to do, is give men a spot, give men a place, give men a platform where they can come and be men. And be vulnerable, you know, and talk about what their struggles are, because we do struggle. I mean, you know, you think about it.
Or even understanding the Bible. I mean, that's another thing.
Exactly.
You know, as Stacy likes to say, I'm smart, but in certain things, there's lots of things that I don't know, right? And the one thing that I've always said, I always try to surround myself that I always want to be the dumbest person in the room. And that sounds crazy, but if anybody's around me, that's the one thing. I'm going to ask the stupid question when nobody will ask that stupid question, right? Because I know that somebody else wants to know that, right? And we were joking earlier about, I had somebody in here in the office, and his son is just recently getting baptized, and we were talking about it, and I said, you know, the one thing that you need to buy for him is the book of Proverbs. And he goes, what? And I said, you realize that and from a historical standpoint, really before the Civil War, that was a taught lesson that because there was a proverb for each day.
Every day, yeah.
Right? And the wisdom of Solomon is considered in the Proverbs. And I said, he goes, well, he doesn't know how to read. I said, you read it to him. One a day. Don't give him more than one. I said, but the problem is you instill something in him at a very young age, that the point that by the time he's my age, he's quoting him, right? Mm-hmm. He knows them offhand. He has that wisdom. He knows those things. The books make them, and I say that about the Bible. The Bible is a reference, right? It's a reference of something every day. And I had a guy that I used to work with years ago, and he carried a Bible with him everywhere he went. And I always used to say, man, that, you know, I didn't understand that. And he goes, man, every answer to every question I have is in this book. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what are you talking about? You know, and it took me really about a year to understand that. And he would just get in the middle, whether it be a thing in work, whether it be a thing in social thing, and he would just start digging. Even if he didn't know where it was at, he would start digging, and he would pull that book up, and he would just say, man, I just started asking God, help me find the answer to this thing, right? but also in that group, the thing that you realize that there was a lot of men that would say, "Oh man, well, you need to look at chapter such and such. It's in there." And whether they were right or wrong, they were trying to contribute. So there was all this collective negotiation in there, and I think that that's a missing thing now.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of those men that are out there, and I don't think we have a lot of people that are well versed in the Bible like it used to be several generations ago. That's something that we got to bring back, right? I always tell them, if you're not reminded of it and you don't know it, then you will least to forget it. You will that's how they break you down. I hate to say that. That's a thing, because you don't know what's valuable and you don't spend the time into it. So I highly encourage people out there, and I think everybody does that. And we were talking about Stacy, I want to give him a shout out, because while we're giving people a shout out, that first of all, I have to say this, I forgot it on the last podcast, I missed it, I'm on the third try. I have to miss from last time, I have to congratulate my daughter and my new grandson, that was part of my summer, and I didn't tell her. She watched the podcast last time, so Katie, this is for you and my new boy there. I just want to let you know that I just want to make sure that y'all get a shout out. The other thing is, I want to say a great thank you to Stacy, because one of the things that we have done with this man church is have selective speakers. And for those that weren't there, I thought that he did a fabulous job at breaking a lot of things down to it. And if you guys have never heard Stacy preach, please, I'm telling you now, you're missing the chance of a lifetime. You need to invite him to your church, your event. Let him speak to your men's group. Let him be a part of your youth groups. He is a phenomenal speaker. I'm his biggest cheerleader, and I think he does a great job. He don't get enough credit sometimes, shout out wise. But I keep joking with him. I said, one day I'm just going to be your business agent. I'm just going to be the guy that sets up these appointments for you, because you're going to be bigger than anything. And Tanner, that might be your role. I may have to have you. You may be security, because
security or
do something. You'll be set up.
Driving the bus.
Driving the bus. So that's the thing that's on there.
Well, and I listen, I'm humble. Thank you so much, Scott. I mean that from all my heart, because here's the thing. When I was growing up, I mean, you never thought I'd been in public speaking at all. Because, I mean, I would have took an F in school had the teacher said, okay, come up and give this report in front of the class. I'm like, no. I mean, my mom and dad, I was a very shy kid. And that just tells you what God does in a person's life. And so, and I always tell people, this is how I compare myself. Jesus, when he was making his triumphant entry into Jerusalem right before he went to the cross, he was riding a donkey. And I often thought I wonder if the donkey ever thought for a minute, they're cheering for me. They're laying these palm branches down for me. And I'm just the donkey that Jesus rides in. I always tell I'm just that donkey that Jesus rides on, and I know it's not me, it's him, and there's no good in me but him, because I know how flawed and how messed up I am every day. I'm reminded of that when I look in the mirror, and so it's always him. And so he's just given me that ability to speak, and the ability and my passions. It's crazy how God, he'll give you the desires of your heart. Scriptures say that. And so I love the outdoors. I've always loved the outdoors. I was that kid like Tanner who would skip school to go fishing or hunting or whatever, and I've been that way since I was little. And so, and then bringing those two together, the gospel and, the outdoors, is something God put on my heart years ago. And so, in just having messages for that and relating to people, because in our demographics here in the South, and I'm sure it's in the North or wherever, Midwest, but you have a lot of outdoorsmen here.
Right.
A lot. People, men and women who love the outdoors, love to fish, love to hunt, love to just be out there. Mm-hmm. And so God was like, hey, here you go. Here's your audience, And so, I enjoy speaking on his behalf wherever I get an opportunity to, whether it's at a dove shoot or whatever.
You never know. Those stories are coming. I can tell you that.
Our next episode, we've already got it, thought out, and so we're going to be talking about our dove hunt down at the 24/7 hunt down in Macon. We just got back from there, so that's going to be our next episode. We don't want to get too much into that, but give you something to kind of come back to. I mean, you don't want to miss these stories on this next episode. It's going to be good.
There's always something going on. That's the thing.
If it ain't ghost babies, it's it's something, and so
it's
dead batteries.
Yeah, dead batteries and picking up debris fields of stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes us real to people, and I think it's what makes us kind of magnetic to folks is that we are real and things do happen and things screw up, and we don't have perfect hair in place and all this, but we wear these Walmart yellow gloves, hunting, and so it's just things like that I think people are drawn to, and it's just real. I mean, I don't like being around people. I get nervous around people who I think are perfect. I used to walk into church building thinking I was the only unperfect person that walked in there.
No kidding.
Really, I was thinking everybody else is way more spiritual than me, way more in touch and in tune with God than me. And so I'd walk into the church building just intimidated because I'm thinking, man, I know what I did last night. I know what I did last week. And nobody else is in here doing that, just me. And that's how the enemy had me confused and just I was the only one that screwed up this week. But we all screw up. We watch each other screw up. We help. Sometimes we even help each other.
Oh yeah, and then you add to the fuel to the fire. That's even the thing that's on there.
Yeah.
Now, as far as a young guy, Tanner, you're in here. I mean, you're seeing some of this stuff unfold that's on there from a young guy who never really went to church before, has now become part of this man church and the other stuff.
And church. Yeah.
And church. What would you say to young guys that are out there? I mean, tell them what you think.
I would say get more involved with the church.
Yeah.
You'll enjoy it. You'll get to know everyone there. You'll have a great time, especially if you get personal with everyone. They'll accept you, and you'll just have a great time. You'll enjoy it more than just going there by yourself and not talking to anyone. That's the big part to me is people came up to me and started talking to me, and I've started to reach out to other folks.
And we put Tanner to work right away, and so Tanner didn't really get to sit very long and soak like a lot of people do when they go to church. I was like, Tanner, we need you to do this, and this every Sunday morning. So Tanner's there early. He's there an hour before anybody else gets there to just kind of make sure we have cards in place and pens and all this stuff.
He just doesn't know that he's going to learn a musical instrument next.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, that's the thing. See, I try to tell everybody this. This is the other thing for you guys that are out there that are wanting to start one. Give somebody some responsibility.
Yeah.
Right? That's the highest thing. And me and Stacy, when we first started this, that was the first thing. Tanner doesn't know all this, but I can tell the secret now that we got him on camera so that he can't run. So when Tanner first showed up, I said, give him something to do. And he's like, what are you talking about? I was like, give him something to do. I don't care what it is. Give him something to do. I said, because unless he has a responsibility, I just knew him personally that he would lose interest in it, right? Because if you don't feel like you're a part of the everyday thing and feel like you're drawn there because you have a certain responsibility, because most people, if you're responsible for something, you know that nobody can do it except you, right? So you're there no matter what, whether you feel good, don't feel good, feel great, whatever, you're going to make sure that you're there because you feel like you owe somebody something as far as responsibility.
Yeah, and you have a purpose.
And you have a purpose, right? So that's the other thing. And maybe it's a small purpose, but it grows with that, right? And I think that happens in a lot of churches where a few people do a lot of things, but they're not good at delegating responsibility. So if I could advise anybody, that's another thing that I think that's a strong suit of mine. There's a lot of weak strong suits that I have, but that is one of my strong suits that I do well at is delegating and making sure people understand what's going there, because people don't know, and you have to explain it, and you have to show them what you want done. If you don't show them the expectations of that's not what I wanted. Well, you didn't show me what you wanted, right? And we joke about it because Tanner's been around me for several years, and my son was joking about it the other day because I'd get so mad at my son, he'd start talking and he'd have a flashlight or something and he'd have it in my eyes, and I'd knock the flashlight out, and he goes, but you're easier on Tanner. I said, because Tanner listens, right? I said, I take Tanner and show him what it needs to be, and then we talk. We have a pre-game before we begin. He knows what tools are on there, and before I could even ask for it, it's already there. I think that's part of also working with somebody. It's the same thing with Stacy. that's who I am. But I'm kind of a planner. So we joke about it. A couple of weeks ago, we had a hot water heater. Several times trips to the
Oh man,
to the Home Depot because
mini trips.
if you have not gone to the Home Depot lately, I'm just sorry. They
Brace yourself.
need a whole new man culture at the Home Depot to basically influence the people that put it up, because the people there don't know stuff. And I don't mean that mean. I'm not trying to be mean at them, but the problem is they have people stocking shelves that don't know what the parts
Exactly.
are. They put the wrong part in, you grab it, go home, and then all of a sudden you realize after you get there, you're like, this is the wrong thing. It was in the right. It was supposed to. It's in the correct.
It's in the right slot. Yeah.
Yeah. So
That was the whole deal we had with that hot water heater, was that Scott, we went back with him a couple of times, and he's like, I'm going back by myself this time. I'm like,
yeah, I got a hold of the guy back there, and I told him, I said, I don't know who stocked these shelves, but I tell you what I will do. I'll come back here and I will sort these shelves out, because y'all need some definite help in doing this. But after you guys worked around me, I'm a very easygoing guy. I say, hey,
Oh,
you're going to do this, we're going to do that. I'll need you to help me to do this. And I think that's just part of it. I grew up with a dad that wasn't that way. His way was screaming and yelling. And we were joking a while ago about the responsibility. My dad was a lot probably like Stacy's, and he always used to have this saying that the head and the was connected by the central nervous system.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm going to beat on one and the other one's going to respond. If I beat on the head, he's going to move. If I beat on the butt, then the head's going to remember.
Yeah.
That was his logic to the thing. And I'm not saying it's bad or wrong, but there was no possible way to ask a question, right? So you had to learn everything the hard way. And a lot of times that meant making mistakes that after you made a mistake, you were like, oh man, I got that one. I'm not going to make that one again. But part of that is, and I think that's, as men, we're very easy to get angry very quickly. And that's the other thing. As I've gotten older, I'm not going to say I was that way when I was younger, but I think as I've gotten older, my temperance for anger has gotten less and less. I usually will start to laugh at it, and we were joking about we're going to tell the story about on the 247 hunt about the battery, but I'm, any other time, if that had happened to me 20 years ago, oh dude, it would have ruined my whole day, right? And I laughed about it. At the end of it, I said, I looked around at all of them and I said, you know what? There's something good going to come out of this. There's something good going to come out of this. I don't know what it is. And there were a lot of good things that came out of that battery being broke that helped us, or have been great inspirations for conversations that also led to us being introduced to other people that we would have never been there. So sometimes you don't really understand. That's where I say you don't understand the plan that God has, and I think sometimes that's a test, right? It's a test to see if you'll respond without anger and accept it, and then try to look at the bigger picture on the stuff.
Yeah, because I think most men are prone to anger anyway.
Yeah.
I think it's just how we're genetically made, is that we just get mad when we get frustrated or hurt, we just get mad. And I think you held your temper pretty well with the skeet thrower, bouncing off.
Now that one was more of a painful one. I wasn't so mad at the skeet thrower. I was mad at myself for putting myself in a position where I knew that I got myself hurt, and then it was on me at one time. I had the pain and the embarrassment of hobbling around out there. That was the other thing.
Oh yeah, and I think it's good that you talking about man church. We give men a place.
Man, we got all kinds of stuff going
Speaking
on
of
today.
men, we give men a place to be vulnerable. To be like, okay, I can really share my heart, my emotions, because like a lot of men, like you said, we can't. There's places we feel like we can't go and do that because we feel like everybody in the room's perfect. And we want men to, when it comes to man church, to know that you don't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
You don't. As a matter of fact, the church is a perfect place for imperfect people,
Yeah.
and it's filled with imperfect people. And so that's that's always been my heart in calling the whosoever to come, and just because there's things like that I don't know that I'll go to Scott, and there's things I don't know that I'll even go to Tanner. I'll talk to Tanner about, and even at his young age, I need to be reminded from his point of view what it was like, or whatever it is I'm dealing with from a young man's point of view, and so that's what.
I wanted to ask you a question. So our viewers out here that are watching, let's say they want to start one of these man churches. I'm going to open the floor up and say, give Stacy or me a call. Right?
Yeah, or send us a message.
Send us a message on Facebook. You can send it to us on Instagram. You can send it to us on this channel. send it to us. We'll give you any ideas to get you started. I mean, I would even be the point if you needed us to help you in the first couple of ones. We come and help you. I mean, I'm not going to get hit with no ski thrower again, but I'll be down there I might be better.
We can bring some ski throwers, but we're not going to get beat up by
Yeah,
them.
right.
And I think the first thing you should do is talk to your pastor, go to him, make sure that's something that he's on board with, because there's so much going on in churches and so much the pastor has to carry. Don't put it on his shoulders to get it started, but if it's something that God's burdened you about, just helping men, we thought what better place, as the call to help men, be men. And they're not all going to be, I'm sure, hunting themes, because like we said yesterday that didn't make the cut. Our brains, my brain, Tanner, I know yours does too, my brain thinks in seasons. Okay, it's deer season, it's duck season, it's turkey season. That's how my brain operates. It don't operate spring, summer, fall, winter.
Right.
Mine's just always see what season's next.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of how we've been running with this thing. That's why our first man church was with the skeet thrower, because dove season's opening up. Dove season, early goose. Teal's right around the corner. Teal's next month or this month.
Yeah, it's the end of this month.
End of this month. Yeah. And so teal season, and so that we were hoping to get some of the rust and dust knocked off of us.
Oh, yeah.
But we end up having to serve a lot more and not shoot that much. I think Tanner got to shoot more than any of us did. I think I shot 3 times. That's about all I shot. And I think Scotland shot like maybe 3 or 4 times.
I went to the corner and cried.
He was hurt. He hurt his feelings. So and once again, his stability was knocked off. He wasn't stable. I'm sure that one leg was probably still jerking from pain.
And I think that's the other thing. The cool part is with this whole experience. It's sort of like an experience for us, just with this doing the call and doing the man church. We're going to show you the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? The things that work, things that don't work. I hope that as we continue with other episodes, we'll see different things that are on there, so that you guys don't think that trust me, this is not well put together. Sometimes after the third take, we're getting good at these things, but it's real, right? I mean, we make mistakes, we forget to do stuff just like everybody else, and the big thing is we just don't quit.
Yeah.
And if that's anything that I can tell you, perseverance is the key to everything in life, in jobs, in sports, is not quitting. There's always going to be somebody better than you, faster than you, more efficient than you, but as long as you don't quit, you have a better chance at winning than anybody else does if you don't give up.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, and you're going to be knocked down. If there's times in life where you're going to be knocked down, get up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, I can only imagine had, me taking my first steps in life as a child, falling down and deciding, okay, I'm not doing this. I'm just going to sit here the rest of my life. I'm going to mess on myself. You're going to feed me right here. I'm just going to, and how ridiculous would that be?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm just sitting, but you get up, and you get knocked down, and you're going to get knocked down. And sorry, Taylor, I thought you was fixing to say something, but you just keep going.
Yeah.
Don't stop. I mean, just keep pushing forward, and if it doesn't work out one way, try another way. Just keep doing it till it.
Tanner's a perfect
works.
example of that. In the early days when I used to take him, his shooting wasn't that great, and he would get all hurt, and I'd look at him and I'd say, "What did I say, Tanner? Hey, you got another chance.
Yeah.
You're gonna get another chance." And now Tanner don't miss very much anymore. I mean, I'm going to say this: he's definitely into his own. That he holds his own, and probably better than most people around him. But that has come because it'd been easy to just quit and give up. And I always joke talking about hunting stories. One of my favorite things. I didn't really start hunting, and I think I may have told this story once before, but until I was in my early 30s, and the first deer I shot, I wounded it and couldn't find it, and I was so devastated that I could not find it, that I took all my stuff in, and the guy that I hunted with at the time, I said, "Sell it. Gun, deer stand, everything." He goes, "What are you talking about?" I said, "I'm not going to do this, man." I said, "I'm not going to do all this and do it." And he goes, "Well, then you'll never succeed." And I go, "What are you talking about?" And he joked with me, and he said, "I tell you what I'm going to do for you." He said, "Meet me on Saturday." And he climbed a tree I climbed it first. He climbed up underneath me, and he sat there with me for the next day. That whole day, we didn't see a deer, but he constantly built my confidence back up. And he said, see there, I'm not going to let you quit. And he made me go back and back until I killed my first 9-pointer. And I think he was more excited about my first 9-pointer than I was. And
That's
I mean,
awesome.
and I joke about that. And to this day, we always talk about that story. I said, if I would have quit, look at the memories. And we were talking about this the other day. I said, there's a study that says that when you die, the last 7 minutes of your life, the best memories of your life pass before your memory's eye, and you see them again. That's why a lot of people are smiling when they die.
Yeah.
And I said, I hope that is true. I hope that is something that we play off. That skeet thrower ain't in it. But I said, but I'm sure that would be, you're going to look back at those things and think, man, because trust me, we deal in that industry every day with aging population and older people, and their physical bodies are gone. They're down to the point, but they have their memories, right?
Yeah.
And they'll revert back to memories and when they were a kid or whatever. And you think, man, that's how powerful that is. It holds on forever. So we're making memories to last that we're going to fill a ton of time. Maybe I won't be able to fit all mine in that 7 minutes. That's what I'm hoping.
Well, and it's all about the journey, you know.
Yeah.
It's about the journey. We miss so much. We get focused on these hunts. We get focused on this fishing, whatever, and we miss the joy of the journey. And that's the fun thing. I mean, there's been times where we went out and not shoot a thing. You know what I mean?
I felt bad. That was after this past weekend. I was apologizing, man. I'm sorry we didn't do it.
Yeah.
Stacey goes, "Why are you apologizing, man?" He said, think about all the cool things that we got to talk about.
And do. I mean, this, which we'll get into that in the next episode. But I just, he was like, man, I'm so sorry we didn't get to pull, like we didn't get to shoot no dove or what. I'm like, dude, the journey, man. We, just the whole fact of, y'all sending videos to me saying we're leaving, we're headed down, we're coming for you, and so the journey down there, going to the Mexican restaurant that night, and just, and I look back at all of my hunting trips, even, before I met Scott and all them, thinking of the life lessons and the journey. And that's why we want to try to bring you guys along with us and talk about these journeys. It's not always about the kill or the hunt, but the times in between, man, just out there freezing your tail off and, and trying to find warmth and then the magical thing of just, that last hunt that we were on during duck season, it just snowing, just how beautiful it was that morning, and the snow coming down, the river was gorgeous, and just, I'm there with my buddies and our dogs, and, and just seeing that, getting to live in that moment and not trying to rush it off, but, because if we'd have killed 3, or if we'd have killed our limit right off of the bat, we would never have seen that. We'd have got our stuff in the boat and took off, but we were out there for a while and got to see, God in His creation and that snow coming down, and so that's what it's about, man. And sharing that, and that's what I'm excited about Man Church. And so our next one, we're hoping, it's going to be even bigger and better. And then we'll just have some where we just meet and talk. We'll get men around a fire, and I think all boys and men love fire deep down in their heart, and so we'll just sit around and talk about man stuff, and just ask men, hey, what's going on with you? What can we talk about? But it's been exciting, man. I'm excited for the future. I'm excited about the next episode. Listen, you don't want to miss the next episode. All right.
I want you to like and subscribe. Send us some comments. We're definitely getting lots of comments. I have a goal. I put this out here, and right before we came on the air, our minister was in here, and I did not put it out here, but we're going to go for a challenge. I want to do 500 subscribers. That's a lot, but that for us is a big step.
That's awesome.
And if we get it, then Tim is going to have to let me sing in church.
Oh boy, that's the one thing that they have not let Scott do. I don't know why though. I hadn't heard him sing. I don't know if he had to. Did you have to do a tryout or something?
No, it was by desperation. I was a fill-in for
the drummer
who wasn't there, and then all of a sudden I think they suckered me in. and then I wound up being like the everyday drummer. And then we were laughing this past week because I was joking with him. They come in and he goes, "Man,
Our drummer's going to be back. He ain't been back in months, but
Yeah.
he'll be back this weekend.
Yeah, he said, "Can you play the guitar?" I said, "I'll play whatever." I said, "You want me to play the bells? I'll play the bells, man. I'll figure out an instrument." So I'm one of those type of people. If I make up my mind I'm going to do something, I'm going to learn how to play it. So the next instrument to accomplish is going to be the bass, which Tanner is going to learn how to play the bass. He just don't know it yet. And then he's going to be up there with me.
That's right, dude. That'd be cool. Right?
That would be cool. We'll be jamming.
Yes, that would be
So,
sick. And see, here's what we need too for Man Church. We're lacking this for Man Church is some, Scott can play the acoustic and electric and all that. We need some music for Man Church.
We do need that.
I mean, just acoustic, the kumbaya kind of stuff around the fire singing,
Get my cajon out there.
Yeah,
Tim can do it. That's what I keep telling them. We just need a couple of campfire favorites.
Yeah, that's
we just
right.
do a couple of campfire favorites. We'll be ready to go.
Yes.
Then you're like a celebrity,
That's
right?
it,
If you're
man.
a celebrity, then you can, big
Nothing
green
can
track-
touch you if you're a
Nothing can-
celebrity.
that's
I
it.
mean, yeah.
And nobody else is going to really say something now, unless you're my buddy Bailey's.
Unless you're one of us.
Unless you're one of Bailey's friends, Thomas. And Thomas, if you're watching this, God help you.
Yeah.
We need, me and you may have to take singing lessons together. That's what I tell him. But I give him a hard time because Bailey's got a couple of really good friends that can play. And those are some of my favorite times. He was asking me earlier, he goes, "Man," he said, "what did I get you for your birthday?" I said, "You know what I want for my birthday?" And he goes, "What?" I said, "I want Kyle Jamar to come to my lake house and play guitar one night. That's all I want. I want to hang out and we just sit around, me and him, maybe TJ, and maybe my other son-in-law could come up." And I said, "Alex, and we'll sit around and play guitar and I'll sing." I said, that would be a cool thing because that is something that brings me joy. I enjoy that. Not everybody does that, but I think everybody that's watching it enjoys it too. And my friend Kim, he plays banjo, so if he could be here, that would even be better.
Man, that'd be incredible.
So
Get the banjo
we-
and
we bring
couple
all kinds of
acoustics
stuff.
and-
Yeah, so you never know. That might be something I need to work on.
Yeah.
Is the music ensemble for Man Church?
Yes, man, I'm telling you.
We like
need
a
that.
traveling band.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get me a
I think-
bus
I
and
think,
everything.
if we can't find an acoustic bass for young Tanner, I think the French harp or the harmonica.
Yeah.
I can see Tanner with
Either that or a mellophone.
mellophone.
Yeah, he can
or
be
the,
out there.
Or the jug.
Yeah, he can do it.
spoons.
He says that he can't play. The only people that cannot play are the people who have not taken a chance to try, right? All we got to do is teach him. See, the problem is Tanner is a lot like me, and he's very methodical about what he does. So once he starts something, he is going to latch onto it, but he has to be careful about what he latches onto, or he'll be like me and have too many hobbies.
Yeah.
And he will. But you need to master them, right? That's the
Well,
thing.
I think the acoustic guitar would be something that Tanner could take the rest of his life with him when he's at duck camp, deer camp, whatever camp. He pull the guitar out and
He
play.
may be a political
Yeah.
figure one day. You never
Sure.
know.
I mean, listen, he's a man of many talents.
He is a man of many
He's only
talents.
16, and
Yeah.
so he's got a lot going for him, a lot more than I had at 16. And so I think that's something that the cowbell at least or something
Yeah.
to bring it out. But we always make fun of it.
You're the only person that gets a cowbell. Did you notice that? For y'all that don't know it, Stacy was up the other day at church, and I started beating the cowbell in the background because he needed to hear it. He's the only
Yeah.
person that gets the cowbell in the background.
Yeah, I mean, after seeing that Saturday Night Live skit, I want more cowbell, baby. I want more cowbell. And so, but yeah, we enjoy these episodes. We enjoy getting in here and just getting to talk. And I just wish you guys could be with us when we're just down in Scott's office, just bouncing off each other. And that's some of our greatest conversations. That's just men being men, and that's what we're hoping this podcast and Man Church would be. We're just men bouncing off of men, relaying information, educating each other, helping each other, lifting each other up, and that's our main goal. And so once again, you don't want to miss next episode. I can't wait. I mean, I'm so excited. I wish we could do it tomorrow. I know Scott's going to the Georgia Tech game, and Tanner's probably going to be hunting somewhere, I'm sure.
I'll be trying.
And I've got to do a funeral tomorrow, of all things, and so, but there's, don't want to miss it. I can't wait. I think next week early we need to do it as quick as we can.
Yeah.
Talk about this dove hunt because dove season's already started,
Yeah.
but we a great weekend in Macon, Georgia that you don't want to miss. And so, if we can help you, this is what this is about. Please, Scott reads all the emails, he reads all the text, all the messages that are put on onto YouTube. If there's anything that you're struggling with, that you can't talk to your wife about, that you can't talk to your brother about, or your father, or whatever, just hit
Leave
us
us-
up.
yeah, leave us a number.
We may not have all the answers, but we'll dig into it. We'll pray about it. We'll try our best to help you any way that we can. We're just a bunch of rednecks here in North Georgia that you know that love God, love people, and love to hunt, and love to be outdoors. And so any way that we can help you, please let us know.
All right. Well, please like and subscribe.
Yes.
Until the
Listen,
next time.
500. Remember,
Yeah.
Scott said 500. Our pastor will let him sing in church, and
Yeah.
so 500. You know, that's and really in the whole scheme of, I think it's 23 million. I don't forget how many men that's in the United States. There's a bunch of men in the United States. So. Share this with your buddies,
Yeah.
get them involved. Well, listen, we're going to be doing we talked about this earlier, we're going to be doing some product reviews.
Yeah.
We're going to get Tanner out in the water. Scott's bought, I mean, there's nothing else I don't think you can buy for duck hunting when it comes to decoys and motorized decoys and motorized everything, mojos. And so we've got there's a lot of new stuff out right now that Scott's purchased that he's got in his building there at his house. And so you know, we're going to be doing a lot of reviews and giving our thoughts on these things. And so we're going to have young Tanner out in the water and filming this stuff while Scott talks about it. And so yeah, until next time, please like and subscribe, tell your buddies. Guys, I appreciate you, love you.
Love you too.
Yeah,
We'll talk
y'all
to
have
you
a
guys
blessed
later.
one.
Bye bye.